Hey, chat. I have a surprise for everybody. I'm not going to change the screen yet because if you didn't see in our Discord server, there's been some fun changes made to stream that I'm real excited about. And so before we start playing, we're gonna take a peek at some of them. First up, I think you'll notice right away when I change the screens here, but we've got a new look. We've done a full makeover, and I think it looks pretty slick. But more importantly, we got commissioned art for each of our characters, plus for me, the DM, that you guys can actually see these characters as they're talking on Discord and while we're playing the game. So I was going to show you each of their commissioned artwork portraits so you can see them a little bit bigger than you'll see during the normal gameplay, so you can appreciate the detail. Ulf Beard gone? No, Bogue. No, you know I would have called you way sooner crying if that happened. But hello, Bogue. Hello, Carl. It's good to see you guys. Hello, everybody else who is just lurking. We love our lurkers just as much as anybody else. So, yeah, let's get to it, huh? Look at that. Look at that transition. It's pretty, ain't it? Um, okay, so that looks a little silly. We'll get there. I'll get to that. Um, this is my first time getting to see it all come together like this, so I like it. Okay. All right, hold on. I'm just gonna scoot this one thing because there we go. Excellent. Now we can see. All right, we're gonna go through these. I made a mess. Excellent, Carl. Excellent. Good job. Um, so we're gonna go through these commissioned portraits for everybody in no particular, well, in a particular order. Strictly to be fair, we're doing it alphabetically so that nobody can accuse me of playing favorites in any way, because I know y'all will do it just to give me a razz. Um, but yeah, I had something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, I should give art credit before we even see the art. The artist that did these portrait commissions is none other than our very own Radio Devil, also known as Nemo, one of the players here on the Yvardsaga stream. She has been working hard on all of these for the last several weeks, and they look incredible. So without further ado, let's take a look at a Yejiye. We've got a Yejiye with egg. We've got the detail in her hair, in her shirt. We've got the long arms that, like, you maybe don't notice it quite right away. But the more you look at the picture, you're like, wait a minute. Her arms are really long. Um, but yeah, no, I really like this one. If you zoom in real close, Rad put a lot of detail into the pattern that's on the egg that she's working on because Pez sent her a bunch of reference photos. It's really this is a hard character to describe and picture in your head, I think, compared to a lot of other D&D characters. And as far as I'm aware, Pez would agree with me that Rad captured her perfectly. Like, this is awesome. So that said, up next we go to Cole. Cole very much has a different tone. Very, very on par for him, I think you'll all agree. Uh, but him just, doing that classic Cole thing of using a flame cantrip to light a smoke. Uh, there was a little bit of a silly about this one in the Discord server because Rad had an earlier version of it that didn't end up being the actual version, but it was silly. I don't remember all the details, so I guess I probably shouldn't try and recount it. Uh, but it ended up great. I mean, just freaking look at it. It's so good. Like the I love the detail Rad gets into clothing, especially. Like the lighting in the clothing is so good. Mwah. And then up next we have the artist herself with Nemo, and yeah, it's one thing I've also noticed, and Nemo's portrait really shows it well, but you'll notice in all of these portraits, one thing that I know a lot of artists, even like full-time professional artists, hate doing if they're doing characters of any kind is hands, because hands are hard to get, looking natural. Um, but Rad has done such a good job with the hands in all of these. Like those poses are just they all look so natural and relaxed when they're supposed to be, but also like flexed enough to be doing something like holding a cigarette in Cole's mouth. It's crazy. It's crazy. Um, but I will confess I felt kind of left out. And as the DM, I'm more the DM than I am Ulf, the stream guy. Once we're like in the thick of things, so Rad had suggested and offered doing a DM portrait as well for me, and so I went extra in the way that only I can, and I commissioned two. Uh, so I am the only one on the screen that will have two different portraits, not just color and black and white when talking. Um, so I'll show you both of these at the same time. But I'm real excited. It means I'll normally at the start of stream, like we're like now, I'll still come on cam and chat with you face to face. But like during the sessions, you won't be seeing my face anymore. Because I mean, honestly, Rad made these. And like, come on, who wants to look at my actual mug when you can look at this? Yes, absolutely, Pez. Rad is amazing. So this these ones of me were reference photos of me in my reenacting kit, and like she was so detail oriented and true. It was awesome. Like she she did research on her own of some of the stuff about it for me and the way I reenact. So like that knife on the belt is I actually have that. And some of the pictures in our Discord, you'll see it on my belt. Um, and like me with my storyteller DM strings that I pull to weave everything together and play with everybody's hearts and minds. Yeah, that's fine, right? That's perfectly fine. So yeah, those are our new art pieces, and now we get to go back. Haha. Getting that to look right took a minute. I will say that transition, that portal transition, it took a minute to figure out, and I'm not entirely sure what I did that made it work, but it was weird about like staying on the slide we were on too long after the effect played, and it also came with sound that I had to mute because it was really loud and sounded like it would have been distracting, you know. Uh, I need you to commission an Aries. Uh, that yeah. Uh, Rad does great work. Rad is, I mean, good good job, Rad. I think everybody will agree. You freaking nailed it. Okay, now let's get to our game. The rebrand is badass. Why, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Oh no, wait a minute. Hmm. Oh, that's why. Okay. Okay. Because my portrait's supposed to, all of these portraits will get colored in when we're talking. And so I was wondering why mine wasn't, but it's because Discord's muted right now. So silly me. But yeah, we have reactive pictures for Discord. It's going to be a ton of fun. So let's go ahead and get to it. We'll hop in and catch everybody else. Ba, 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 ba. If I can click on anything correctly.
Can't tell you.
Hello,
This is
friends.
forbidden knowledge.
Oh, good. I'm glad I caught just the end of it. But yeah, welcome to the party, everybody's new party artwork. Thank you, Rad.
Hell
So glad,
yeah.
I love it. I'm so
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, it's so good. It's so good. All right. So, thank you, chat, for letting me enthuse for longer than I usually do at the start of stream, but I think we can all agree it was worth it. Now, Let's pick up where we left off last time, shall we? Everybody ready? Everybody saddled up and good?
Yeah.
Not even a little.
Excellent. So, when last we met our party, I'm not sure if we can call you heroes yet. Well, you have to earn
Rude.
that. when when last we met our motley crew, you guys were continuing to explore the ruined temple of Jurgle, and you found a few more interesting places. Um, Most notably, you started finding some dead people just kind of around in varying states of dead. Not varying states of dead, but various states of post-dead.
Oh, never mind. Sorry. I couldn't hear you for a solid, 4 seconds.
Oh no. Oh no.
Uh,
Could have been me.
I like varying states of dead, or stages of dead. I think that's very funny, Ulf. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, sorry. My headset was dying, which I think may have been part of why I might have dropped out. So, I forgot to plug it in today. And now that I'm not on screen, you guys can't see that I'm doing that. But yes, one of the room you spent most of your time in last time, was essentially like an embalming studio where you found tons of chemicals, some other assorted materials, powders. You found a like a ditch in the ground that had a torture rack over it, but the torture rack was pretty clean. It had a weird blue rope on it, but inside that ditch was a bunch of blood that didn't stink. It it looked as fresh as it would if somebody just, you know, acquired that much blood feasibly within the last couple minutes and put it in there. You also found a strange device that was just like kind of like a birdhouse, but the front of it had a cylinder with glass on the end, and it was shooting light onto the wall that made an image. The likes of which have never really been seen or heard of in Evard, but they found what we know to be just an image projector. And of course, the party nabbed that, said, we know somebody who would like this. And it got stuffed into one of Ayegie's bag of holdings, I do believe. And we moved along. You guys made it to a room that had, well, I guess it's the room you're in now, that had three different forms of dead person. You got plain old dead skeleton, you've got mummy, and then you've got this metal body case with a canopic jar. And as this door down here that Nemo's standing in front of, as she opened that door, one of those standing metal body cases that was opposite the door opened up and launched some poison darts out. So it was rigged, it was trapped. And Ayegie and Nemo got hit in the armor, so that wasn't that big a deal for them. But Cole Cole wasn't so lucky. He got hit pretty decent, but that's okay. Ayegie cracked an egg on his head and all was well. And you guys use the projector to peer down this pit and realize that pit is very, very far down and it is very, very full of bones. And that's where we left off. So,
Um,
yeah, uh, as you were, Ron is still looking over the walls, the floors, the ceiling around this place, trying to see if there are any other traps, while you guys kind of recover and do what you need to do.
So,
hmm.
as I was getting egg-headed, um, did anyone explore further into that doorway, or does that still need to be investigated?
The one to the right.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't
I
know.
I don't believe anybody actually walked through. I believe Nemo opened the door, the trap triggered, and I don't think she went through.
Yeah. Oh, she will, I guess, go investigate the room.
Okay,
Not
it's
at all avoiding the consequences of her actions.
it is a small room with another big metal door, just like the one you opened before. But there's no standing like body cases, and that's what the darts came out of. So like in theory,
In
should be
theory, I'm
decent.
safe.
I
Shall
mean,
I investigate?
you can if you would like. You are on the back side of the door, so like the bolt that you can secure into the door frame to like lock it, and this is a heavy duty metal door. You are on the side that has that. So like you are in control of whether that door is locked or not.
Ah, um, but that was the room that yeah, we were already in.
You have been in that room. You recognize this door as one that you guys tried from the other side, and it was
Mm.
locked.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the first like big heavy metal door that you guys have come across that was actually like one metal, but two still functioning as a door.
Yeah. Okay.
It was
Since
one metal, two it was a door, three it was a metal door.
yeah,
Precisely.
she's gonna leave that alone.
Fair enough.
Well, yeah, we can peek into this next room then.
You
Because we've
sure
already
can.
determined the pit isn't the way to go.
But how can you be certain?
I don't feel like trying to defy gravity today.
But then you
'Cause
can't sing the
like
song.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd bring me down.
Sir.
Well, but then where can we find you?
Okay.
If it's not the Western Sky.
I am here for it. Okay. That said, the one thing I didn't pull up was of course my notes on everything in this place. Um so as soon as before you even like step into this room, there's no actual physical doors blocking your view. So you can immediately tell this is another one that's unlike any other room in this place so far, in that it has really nice, clean, like not actual marble probably, but kind of marble looking floor tiles. The walls are made of the same kind of semi-crumbling to fully crumbling sand-colored stone you've seen everywhere else, but it's in good shape and doesn't look structurally insecure like most of the other places you've been. Um, there is this one pool of water that has some roots growing in it. There is, let's see, there's the two slabs that are both, one is a mummy cadaver, and this one you haven't actually seen a set of remains in this state because it looks on the map, it looks like somebody that got wrapped up in a giant spider's web, but that's just the asset I had. It's it's like a mummy, but with more cloth, and the cloth is better preserved. Like a higher quality fabric was used to wrap, and not necessarily just strips, but like larger shrouds involved. You haven't seen a set of remains left like this before, but in the last room you did see one of the mostly just like dried up mummies. Um, but yes, so there's those two. Um, the cloth around the nicer one actually still seems like it might be wet.
I don't like that.
Why
Um,
is it wet?
I, I don't know. You might have to take a peek and find out. Um,
Mm.
but there are two actual white marble tables on the wall further down, which is what these two things are. They're just like nice, solid stone tables. Uh, then the one of the weird things is this thing here right next to the water. Uh, Yajie, I don't know if you would have necessarily seen them, at least in a form that would look like this, but you'd probably recognize it fairly soon as something you are familiar with. Uh, Cole and Nemo, you guys have both been in pretty big urban environments where these are starting to be a little bit more commonplace and not just for the wealthiest of the wealthy. But it looks like a sink
A
faucet.
sink? Ah!
Yeah, with a large basin underneath. Think like a restaurant sink in the back.
Mm.
How they would have like two of the huge like utility stainless steel sinks side by side. Just take out that divider, and that's about how big it is. So a couple feet long. Um, but the faucet looks like one of those old like well pump things. Uh, well pump things. I hope that made any sense at all because I cannot think of the words to describe that better. But like when you have the handle and you move it up and down and it pumps water up out of the well, but it's fairly rudimentary. Um, and then underneath that basin is just like the bare legs of a table, but you can see that there's some sort of small reservoir underneath it that's connected into the pipework. And then up against that wall nearest it, like on the south side, are a bunch of shelves with supplies like you've seen in a lot of other rooms, but also you because of roll 20 in the aerial view, you can't see what's underneath it. But the first 4 feet of that wall from the ground up are tall ceramic jars. Like not a vase, but like a proper huge storage jar, 4 feet tall. There are five of them.
Mm.
Let's see. On the shelves, really the only thing worth noting are several of the jars are an interesting color of kind of an aquamarine sort of hue that you can see through the couple of glass vials that are there and see that it was probably a richer color at one point when it was fresh and it's faded a bit, but it's still kind of striking in this room of mostly bright thing or like mostly pale things. Um, and it the other thing to mention is opposite Cole in those two stone pillars on the left side of the room, there's a giant chest. Like it's a 5 foot wide by 5 foot tall chest. No, 4 foot tall chest. It's got a ton of like carvings and decorations around it. Um, it's made out of both the sand colored stone that that prevails here, but also it looks like there's some amount of actual bone, possibly, or ivory that isn't very well polished, so possibly more like bone of some kind that's been integrated into some of the decorations on it.
It's pretty metal.
And that is what you see in this room when you walk in. As well as
Call makes a
so,
beeline for the chest.
as well as a Yegier, you see some more of those onyx cap mushrooms on the wall. There's some more roots with some moss. In the bottom of the pool in the room, there's a single large rock that has moss growing on it that looks different than what's been growing on or around the roots. And I think that's all the flora in here that would catch your eye. But Cole, going to take a peek at that chest, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a chest. It's very nice. It's decorated in a very like geometric style that wouldn't be familiar to you. Like it's not the coolest looking style, but you can tell it was deliberate and probably was all the rage back in whenever this building was current.
Gotcha. Does it, you know, is it locked or am I able to open it?
It is locked, but it does just have a keyhole.
is gonna Cole's gonna turn to his teammates. Did someone say that they had some lockpicks?
Yejier will dig through one of her bags of holding and pull out a pack of thieves' tools. Oh, that's a lie. It's in her backpack. Weird that she doesn't keep them in her bag of holding, but hey.
Yeah, they're small.
It doesn't look like she's willing to walk them over. She's interested in staring at this little bundle.
Oh, yes, I forgot. There's a spool of cloth with some scissors on the corner of that table with the mummy.
Is it nice?
Yeah, it's kind of
Um,
pretty blue.
I will consult my notes.
He's consulting the oracle.
As you pull him out, Cole's gonna like kind of lightly clap his hands together and like put him up, like he's open.
I mean, you have to walk like, what, 10 feet maybe to reach her?
Yeah.
She also doesn't want to walk over.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw my thieves' tools. All the ball bearings are going to spill out everywhere.
Meanwhile, just watching this.
You know that's a separate inventory item, right? That's not part of a thieves' toolkit? Okay, just checking.
Okay, so he comes over, grabs him, and returns.
You have legs.
For what it's worth, a Yejier, it was probably a pretty nice thread back in the day. It looks like it was used only on the better conditioned body that may or may not still have moisture in or about it somehow. And like sealing up some of the layers of shroud and cloth instead of just being a thin strip wrapped around the whole thing like the mummy is. But it's there with a set of rusty scissors that don't open or close anymore.
You said it looks like it would have been. Does that mean it's like...
It's frayed and it's not totally like moldy and rotten and gross, but it's weathered a little bit. But like it's a decent color. The color's still nice. You just probably wouldn't trust it to hold a stitch together very well anymore. Cole, go ahead, and I assume you are attempting to pick that lock while we discuss
That's the
ancient threads.
yeah, that's the idea.
I will supervise to give you advantage. Yeah.
Okay.
You are so helpful. I
Just
appreciate
standing over his shoulder going, you're doing it wrong. You're
Just
doing it wrong.
Like, I would use the other one.
Just going every now and then.
it. Do I roll with
Hi, Hoban.
disadvantage now? Oh,
For being distracted. No,
yeah.
you can take advantage for having help.
Alrighty.
So,
I'll let you hold the bag while I'm fiddling with the tools I need, and let's give her a go.
scalpel.
Scalpel.
Exactly. Scalpel. There we
I am trained in the four-handed technique.
go.
Alrighty. Let me consult my notes for a thing. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Okay. Yep. The technology used to make locks and other securing devices has progressed greatly since the time this was made. It is like it was probably decently hard a long time ago, but anymore it's like kind of mid. It takes a minute, maybe two. Fortunately, the pieces inside are not rusted together. And you get that satisfying click, and you can hear and feel the lid, whatever holds the lid attached to the actual chest bottom. Like, you can feel and hear it unclick and detach, and you're able to lift the lid. It is super heavy. It is probably mostly a solid piece of stone from which this chest was carved. But inside, you see a couple things. You see a pair of gloves. They're like unremarkable looking leather gloves. just like, go down to the wrist and have a little bit of a flare out after that. Um, you see a pair of spectacles that look interesting. Definitely an old style, but they don't look bad. Spectacles aren't common to begin with in Evard, but they do exist and are a thing the both of you would have seen plenty in an urban area. There is a broken ceramic jar in the bottom, and what was inside it was some sort of a fine red powder, and it is just kind of spilled all over the corner of the chest where that ceramic jar was sitting. Um, there is a very large, like almost a cubic foot in size, like very large, uh, red gemstone of some kind. It's not polished, but it still has a nice kind of sheen and luster to it naturally. It looks like it's been chipped away at in chunks by like probably a masonry chisel. Um, but it looks like it'd be a decent gemstone if, you could haul it out of here. But it's, again, I emphasize, almost a cubic foot. That's a lot. That's a
Wow.
huge fucking gem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you see a weird, like metal sphere that looks like it's got some holes all along its surface that are like little decorations. Um, Nothing about it really stands out other than it's a nice looking some sort of sphere. And there's a book that is a bound book in decent condition. It's starting to smell a little musty. Um, but the book on the front is written still in Terran, so sorry, Cole. You'd have to ask Nemo. But Nemo, you can read the title for this as On the Practices of Preservation, Mummification, and Mellification.
Is this like the 201 version of the books that she has already?
Kinda, sorta. What you've
She like
seen,
has the beginner and then the novice and then.
yeah, I'd say probably almost even 301. Like, this is less about processing a recently dead cadaver to, like, make it suitable for whatever rites and rituals will be performed with it as far as like religious burials or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
this is more like significantly more detailed anatomy of assorted humanoid species, uh, goblinoid species also. There's somewhat detailed walkthroughs of surgical methods that aren't necessarily related to dealing with a cadaver, but could pertain to actual, like, a live patient. Um, but also for having to do stuff like that, like more complicated repairs on cadavers that were killed with damage. Like after the person died, their body had damage that for a religious ceremony you might not want, half of their torso to be ripped open from where the owl bear cut them. So like
Mm-hmm.
how to repair that sort of cosmetic damage, I guess. Uh, that's absolutely not the phrase, but it's what I said, so we'll roll. Um, but there's also a section about how to do all of this stuff according to specifically the policies of the Temple of Jurgle with a capital T. So just as that religion and that deity say to observe the actual magic and spiritual side of this instead of just the technical 101s. Um, so their policies, their best practices, some notes on hygiene and sterilizing and like the environments where these sorts of things are done and prepared. Contemporary medical knowledge from the time. Like this is definitely a heavier book, but it is on preservation of bodies, which makes sense. Mummification. I don't know if Nemo would know exactly what that is because that's kind of a practice not really done anywhere that she's ever been. Um, but mellification is a thing I don't think even a lot of IRL people know what that is. But that is an ancient way in real life history of preserving bodies by submerging them in honey, because honey doesn't rot; it doesn't go bad, and so some cultures would do that in order to preserve their dead. So there are instructions for how to properly do that in there also. So that's a heavier bit of reading for you if you feel so inclined.
Yes.
Okay.
So, just to clarify, not only did the Victorians have your standard salted mummy jerky, but there was a sweetened mummy jerky available as well.
Possibly.
Almost teriyaki, if you will.
Oh,
Nice.
we're horrible. I love it. How to hide a body. Not quite, Carl. That's a different version.
Do you want to eat a body?
Oh goodness.
Um,
Um yeah, but that's everything in the chest. Uh
okay, well, uh, everything except for the ceramic jar, we might deal with that last. We'll just start by taking them out and just kind of giving them a examination, and then I think Cole would put them over on the uh, marble tables over here.
okay.
Um, so starting with the gloves and kind of going down the list, just kind of inspecting as we go.
Make an investigation check unless you would like to do something else. Um if you're going to be like assessing them for anything, that seems like something a
Yeah,
skill check should be applied to.
yeah, no, that's. I'm just trying to see if. Yeah, investigation, probably.
And you could sell me on a
Probably the
different
best
one.
thing to do is as a noir detective, which I
Yeah.
apparently now am.
Okay.
Cole would be trying to figure out. Okay, these were locked in here. This room is of importance, so these items must be of importance, even more so than just sitting out open in the room. So
Fair.
we are doing investigation.
Yes. And while you're rolling that, but I have not seen the results yet, but I forgot to mention one thing for Rad about that book. Um, Part of the religious like best practices or standard policies kind of reveal what you've seen in these rooms. Apparently, way back when, temples of Jurgle were often used as even not even like dedicated to Jurgle agnostic handling of local people's dead. And so like this is considered a respectful place to bring someone you've lost, and they get, embalmed if you could afford it, brought in here. And this particular room is where they were like properly washed and cleansed and sanctified and like general spiritual holy protections.
Um,
So that's the context of what you guys have been seeing. Now I will actually look at the results of your roll. Okay, a 13. So first the gloves. They're leather gloves. They look like they've been maybe at one point may have had some sort of a seal applied to the outside of the leather, like they have a little bit of a sheen in some places, both on the inside and the outside, but like they're broken in pretty well. These gloves have been used. Um, the lenses, the spectacles are, oh dang, excuse me. I had a link to their physical description, but it's not working. So uh, they're spectacles, and I'll find that when we take our next break, because it'll take me a minute to look up. But I'm pretty sure there's not anything super duper remarkable about them, except I think the lenses might have a slight tint. Um, no, I remember. They're square lenses, or like rectangular lenses, with a pretty simple frame. But seeing rectangular lenses like that for spectacles in Evard, that is kind of weird. Like they're almost always like circular or semicircular in shape. Um, so that's kind of funky. But other than that, they don't seem any sort of crazy, except like some random odd things in this place. They don't look like they've been touched much or at all by time. Let's see. The the gem, uh, it doesn't take a very high investigation roll to realize that that gem is extremely heavy. Like, Cole, you cannot lift that even if you jumped in there and put your back into it.
Yeah,
Like it
that's
is
fair.
insanely heavy, but you do see that it looks like there have been decent sized chunks shaved off of it with a chisel, like I said. Um, but you don't see any like shavings or leavings in here, so it probably, if it was done here, it was cleaned up after, or it may have happened somewhere else. Otherwise, it looks like it's like the raw gem. Like they probably pulled it out of wherever it was found in a mine somewhere in this state. It hasn't been refined or cleaned beyond a basic scrubbing. Um, the sphere, as you pick it up and take it to the table, you realize the sphere has workings and contraptions inside. Like it's kind of hard to tell exactly what they are and what they do. It looks like there's some sort of a chamber in the middle, but it has a button on it. I don't know if you would press the button, but that's really the only other thing you would notice with the 13 investigation.
Oh, I am so tempted.
Push the button. Good. You're cool.
What would Cole do?
Push the button.
So, um, he'd set that on the other table, and then kind of from a distance with his staff, try and gently press the button.
Okay. You press the button and the sphere immediately changes its appearance. It's no longer this metal with the gaps and the holes in its surface. It looks like it never was. Suddenly it looks like just a thick glass marble that's not quite as big as a basketball, but it only weighs a pound. And you can feel something about it. It starts to float and just like levitate off the table a little bit. And you get the sense in the back of your mind, in your estuary, that this is something you could probably interact with if you attune to it. This is a magic item of some kind. But otherwise, it just hangs out, levitating in the air.
Oh. Uh, Cole's gonna like try and see if there's like a place where like he could hit the button that would turn back.
Yeah, yeah. You can hit the button again with your staff. It would be a little bit harder to do, but yes, you can. And
Okay.
it just lowers itself gently back down onto the table, and it looks like the metal sphere again.
Oh. We're gonna come back to that because that's interesting.
Okay, while you guys are messing with that, though, Ayejie, what are you looking at over here?
I was gonna collect a few more of the mushrooms that I've already collected to start with. Because I have some, but I could have more.
It's true. You could.
And let's be honest, I'm just gonna. I'm really suspicious about touching that water because it's still water. It hasn't been disturbed in a long time, and I feel like a Yejier would know the dangers of still water.
Fair. For what it's worth, the water looks remarkably clean. Like crystal clean.
Yeah, so does the water that kills people.
Indeed. Just
That's how they get you.
Yeah, there's some algae down there though, so you know.
yeah.
Yeah, I can do some quick rolls
Yeah, survival.
if you'd like for. Yeah, it'll be number 1 will be mushrooms, number 2 will be above ground moss, and number 3 will be sticking my hand in a pool of water and seeing what happens.
Okay.
Survival.
Yes.
Not bad for the first one.
Okay.
Not great for the second one. And not bad for the third one.
Okay, so the first one was for the mushroom.
Yeah.
The second one was for above ground moss.
Yeah, moss on the tree bits.
Yes, on the roots. You're not messing with the roots though.
Uncertain. They've betrayed me many a time.
Okay. I guess I forgot to describe the roots for you if it matters. These look like the same ones you found in the first room of the temple in the foyer, however you say that. And not the mycelia thorny vine root mass that was going into the
I
blood
remember it. I
pool in the
wasn't
embalming
successful for the
studio.
first ones either, though.
You weren't, but I just want to make sure you know which one you're looking at. It matters to me.
And you said these are onyx caps, not the look-alike?
Correct. Yes, because the look-alike, it grows out of the ground on a single, I still don't remember what the stem of a mushroom is called because it's not a stem. But the actual onyx caps are a cluster of shelf mushrooms that grow horizontally out of. You've seen them on walls or shelves. And then the moss, and then the last one was for the underwater.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick my arm in a pool of water.
Okay.
I mean, I'll touch it first before just like going whole hog.
Okay. I forgot this about the algae underneath the water, but since this place is not illuminated in any way, you guys are all working in dark vision, you would see there is a soft lavender-colored bioluminescence to the algae. And as you draw close, you pick up some sort of smell. It would probably take a while to identify, because you probably would not have ever encountered this until you started learning how to do a lot of your stuff professionally that you do. But it smells uncanny similar to saffron, but it's absolutely not saffron. But that's what it smells like as you draw near. So roll me 2d4. The first one will be for your mushrooms, the second one will be for the algae.
I'd rather it go that way.
Fair. Okay, so whatever your intelligence modifier is, add that to both of those, and that's how many usable samples you get of each thing. Particularly when you pull the algae samples out of the water, it really smells like saffron. Like you guys in the other part of the room can smell this stuff as she pulls it out of the water.
I would like to also, in a jar, have some of its water, as I've been doing with all of the mushrooms and various plants, trying to take a bit of its environment with it.
Okay, good call. All right. For that one, because you don't have a working name for that one yet. That one, my working title for it, for your inventory's purpose, is Grace Bane. As in Grace, Grace, Bane.
I'm sure that's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
Yeah,
a totally good thing.
yeah, it's probably fine.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not
Oh,
delicious tea, I'm sure.
yeah, totally. Very, very lively. I'm sure it's great for your gut.
Question.
Yes,
Can I dry off my arm with Presto?
of course you can.
Excellent. Gonna
Standard
Presto
common
my
use of
arms
Presto.
dry.
Very good, very good. Um, and yeah, that pool of water isn't super deep. Like that lower floor in it that the rock and the algae are actually on is probably like remove the rock and just standing on the bottom of the tile is probably like 3 feet. So it's decent enough. You could get under the surface if you wanted to, except for maybe a Yajier. Um, but like it would have to be fairly deliberate.
And I would move
Yeshe could
myself.
wash her forearms.
I'd move myself to go stand over next to Cole and Nemo, but I'm currently holding a cat.
Fair.
He's a two-handed cat.
um, uh, Cole just had an idea. He's gonna go put on those gloves so he can grab the remains of the ceramic jar and the powder to also try and put those on the table.
Do they fit like a glove?
Eh.
I imagine they fit like one.
They're leather
They have the
gloves.
right number of fingers.
They have the right number of fingers. They are all intact. They don't have any holes, even though they're well used. They're they're gloves. Cole, you once again feel a little sense in the back of your estuary that these might have a magic to them. You're not innately sure what, but at least you know there's something to work with.
Yeah,
Um, and then
you're
oh no,
kind of breaking up
I am.
for me. I kind of feel out all.
You're breaking up. I thought it was just me. Might be our
It might be our internet. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
internet.
too.
Okay. Let's take 5 and see if it sorts itself out.
You're
Stand by.
better now.
Kinda, sort of.
Okay. Like now a little bit better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For now.
Okay. Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Cole, as you go to interact with this red powder and the broken jar, you're just trying to like pull the jar out with some powder and put it on the table, or are you like trying to clean it?
Yep. No, I'm trying to get some out so we can kind of examine it closer without stuffing our faces down in the chest.
Okay. Yeah, you can get enough of it out just in like the bottom of the jar, if like the bottom of it and like the circular base is intact with enough of some walls on most or all of the way around it that you can still kind of like scoop up some of this red powder um, and take it and set it there. Before we continue, though, I'm going to say think about what you might want to do with all these things, but let's go ahead and take a 5 minute break, largely
Okay.
just to make sure that my internet has smoothed itself out. Because in the past, when it does stuff like that, usually it kind of comes in 2 spurts pretty quick.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do 5 minute wellness break, and then we'll be back.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Sounds good.
Okay, friends. Yeah, things are happening. Um, yeah. There we go. Hey. See, I told you I'd come back so we can still talk face to face. Things are happening. They're investigating. They're finding stuff. They're finding so many things. They found gloves and some dead people and some moss. It's a great day for everybody. Everybody's getting what they want. So, we're going to take a wellness break. Y'all do what you got to do. You know the drill. We still have, for all the glow up that we've got for stream tonight, we still have dear sweet Millie here to remind you to take care of yourself. So you do that, and we will be back in just a little bit. Haha, I caught it early that time. Welcome back. We've taken our wellness break. We're investigating some stuff found in a box. I appreciate y'all just being here, just hanging out. It's a ton of fun for me to run these sessions, and I would happily be running them just for the four of us, but I appreciate y'all who are enjoying the story and being part of the experience. Carl, I haven't forgotten about working on the points redeem options and lists. I'm working on putting up a list to present to the players. I'm hoping to do so before next week's session. I'm not saying we'll have them decided and set up before next week's session, but at least the ball will be rolling. I've got some options, but I'm going to keep them close to the chest until we get them integrated and decided on, so I'm not getting anybody's hopes up about something that doesn't end up being a thing. But yeah, let's continue with our adventure before they all get, I don't know, too far in without us or something. I don't think they can do that, but you know what I mean. What's what? What's what and where and how and what buttons do I click? Okay, everybody good?
Yeah.
Subjectively.
I'll take it.
In the context of this conversation, yeah.
Fair enough. I'll take it indeed. So, you guys were collecting stuff out of a big old chest. So, it's all laying there on the table. What do you want to do with it?
Did you get the gem out?
Yeah.
No, Cole is not strong enough.
No, poor little Cole.
Yeah. Yeah. If we have strength stats being compared, I think it's gonna be a. I don't know if Nemo
The
would
funny
be
thing
stronger
is,
than
my
Cole.
strength stat isn't very high. I just have a background trait that makes me able to lift more.
Yeah,
Yeah, but no, Cole focused on his street smarts and some of his book smarts, not the gym.
fair.
You have the gloves on. Try it.
It need to be attuned if that's what they indeed are.
Oh yeah, I also came over here to go ahead and grab the projector out and light it up so that you can see a little better in this area.
Built-in flashlight. Well, not really. Makeshift.
Um,
Makeshift. Makeshift flashlight.
um, are you able to get that gemstone out? It's a bit too much for me.
And now, yes, it will help. uh, once again, I'll have to figure out how much she can lift.
I want to say it might be in your character sheet.
It's 30 for me. It's 30 times my strength score, and then
I'll-
times 2 again for
Well,
push
a
drag
better,
lift.
a different question is, are you able to just take your bag of holding and just fit it over top of it?
That was gonna be my second attempt, yeah.
Mm,
But if I can just lift it out of here, I don't need to do that.
I think as
Well-
soon as you turn it upside down, everything falls out.
Well, if
and the mouth won't fit it. It is too big.
well,
Dang,
so
he
we'll have
planned
to,
for this.
yeah, we'll have to cut
It
it
is
up
too big.
in order to put it in at some point.
It's too much for Cole. It's too much for the bag of holding.
Well, before you take your knife to it, maybe we look at it as a whole first, in the light.
Yeah.
I can lift 360 pounds.
You cannot lift this.
Oh wow.
Well, that's unfortunate. I mean, we could try to teamwork. I'm going to assume Cole might be able to lift like 150 pounds at least.
We do have a Goliath running around.
Somewhere, but do you want to pull them into this?
This, I don't care about. There's some other things I'd rather avoid.
Might be some like a false bottom, maybe.
I'm convinced it's like a fair trick, where it's like actually a really super strong magnet underneath this thing. The stone itself weighs like 2 pounds, but there's like the biggest rare earth magnet you've ever seen inside of it.
And what about
Hey,
this
Ron, how
temple
strong are
of death
you?
makes you think that's there? Let me find out how strong Ron is. One sec.
If he doesn't have the perk, and he's not 24 strong,
Yeah, no. If she can't lift it, there's no way, and fuck, I can.
but
Okay,
can we
never
team lift it? Does it have a little sticker on it that has 2 people lifting a box?
It does not.
mind.
He's.
Damn it.
I can try, but I can't make any promises. I was strong enough to be on a ship, but I was never the strongest there. But
Because
you can have Ron's assistance if you would like it.
I mean, might as well try. And then, if nothing else, I'll bring my light over here, and then Cole can cut chunks off of it. Yeah, it's your base big number strength score times 15.
Yeah.
And I say this with the utmost confidence. I haven't looked it up in a long time,
No,
but
you're
I have
right.
confidence.
No, you're right. That is what it is. I have a note on what this actually weighs. Okay, so make an athletics check with advantage.
Oh wait, oops. I only rolled one. Give me a second. Technically, the advantage helped.
So
Technically, yeah.
you and Ron can just barely get this thing lifted between the two of you. Can you get it lifted 3 feet off the ground in order to get out of this chest? Probably not. But you can lift it off the ground enough that, in theory, you could maybe do something with it.
So our options here seem to be
Cut it up.
we'd get a third person in the lifting attempt, or we replace probably Ron with, I have his name somewhere.
You do. Would you like it here
I
and
got
now?
it.
Okay.
Wait, no, I don't got it. I lied.
Varcone.
I see it now. It's under brain rot notes.
Oh God. Okay, fair enough.
I don't even remember typing that title.
It's yeah, no,
It's been a hard day, huh?
fair. Yeah, I mean, you guys could track down Varcone and see.
If we're gonna have to cut it to put it into the bag of holding anyway, might as well just cut it in place.
I just thought you might want a better angle or look at it first.
I think that's as good as we're gonna get.
Shrug. Shine the light down on it.
I mean, it shines nicely for being a raw mineral gem. More of like a mineral gem than like a crystal. It's, I don't think I actually said, but it's like a various fluctuations of orange red. A little bit of white now and then, if I recall correctly.
I'd like to phone a friend to my resident geologist.
It's,
Um,
It's funny because I know who that is. We have a resident geologist who would probably ask all the questions I don't know the answers to.
um,
I suppose
other.
I should say, uh, in some decently large sections of this gem's surface, you see a particular shade of red that matches the powder from the broken jar.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that helps clarify one thing. So Cole is gonna set about, I guess, comparing the bag of holding mouth to the gem. So he shaves off the edges and avoids the middle as much as possible to try and get the largest piece he can intact into bag of holding.
Okay, I am looking
Is it
something up
like a
about a
giant
bag of
tiger's
holding.
eye or something?
You could make a nature check if you wanted to try and figure out what it is.
2 feet in diameter at the mouth for the bag of holding. That's pretty big.
Yeah, that is way bigger than I thought they were.
Oh, I thought you. Sorry, I thought you had the size of the bag of holding when you said I couldn't fit it in there.
I thought I did. I didn't think it was that.
It's 2 feet round.
I don't know shit.
Okay.
But you know it's not shit, probably, maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you could fit it in there, if not for the weight, then without cutting it by dimensions, right? A cubic foot should fit in a 2-foot hole.
It does.
Yeah.
I was just doing the hypotenuse.
You would.
And it can hold 500 pounds, which means if Ron and I can lift it, it's probably close, but
You just hear everything, every glass.
I have an
That
empty
bag
one. It's
shatter.
okay. I just wouldn't be able to like put anything else in this bag. Specifically, I'm putting this in my handcrafted one, not my gifted one.
Okay. That's good because as soon as you plop it down in there, it rips through the bottom and falls to the floor, and nothing else that was in there comes out with it.
That's not how the bag works.
If the bag is overloaded, pierced, or torn, it ruptures and is destroyed. And its contents are... I'm not finishing that.
Oh, okay.
Because this thing weighs more than 500
I didn't read the last
pounds.
4 words. I didn't read the last 4 words of that. I think I put it in the empty bag then.
Yeah, I would have felt bad if it was the other one, but I'd have seen it through. But yeah, no.
How much can Ron lift?
100 something, 160-ish, I think.
Oh, it was barely over.
The two of
Do
you
we
combined
have to
had
take it all?
had less than 100 pounds of clearance. That's why I had you make an athletics check. Like,
Between the two of us, we could lift. If he had 160-ish, we could lift like 520.
yeah, barely. That is barely enough. So somewhere between 500 and 520 is the weight of this gem.
Ayegie is going to curse soundly in formal Dwarven. And I can only assume this bag might actually just disappear.
It does, yeah. It just kind of falls apart and disintegrates.
Into like a pile of scraps.
Yeah.
Or it might just... It might just unenchant. So I think I have to have an item that is akin to the thing I'm replicating, maybe? I forget how that works
Yeah,
exactly. I'll look it up.
I think you would have a strap with very, very unsalvageable flaps of fabric.
Have you considered mending?
I mean, yeah, then you'd have a bag. It doesn't restore the magic.
No, that's fine. I just
Okay.
want to remake it into a bag. So she like sits on the floor and is now just mending all these pieces of bag back together while cursing in Dwarvish.
Excellent. Okay.
And I'll be looking things up for a second. She will shine the light down on there though, so Cole can do whatever he wants.
So yeah, the gem is still in the floor of the chest.
Do we have to take it? If it's...
I don't know that we can at this point.
If you cut it
Varkon
smaller, we
might
can
be
take
able
a
to carry
chunk of
it out
it.
of here. How large of a chunk do you want to test the other one?
No.
No, because that bag already has weight in it.
Goodness.
Or are we going to stay here?
Wait,
Depends how
Will we
deep we
rest
have to
before
go.
leaving, do we think?
uh,
Even if we find what we're looking for, will we rest before leaving?
Shrug.
I don't
don't
remember the
know if
last
I
time
want
we
to
rested.
stay here.
You don't want to stay in the Death Temple?
No, I don't want to stay in the Temple of the Death God.
To be fair, Ron chimes in. How many things have we met outside the temple versus in the temple? Just saying.
Bull's gonna point to Ron and nod. He's not wrong. Plus, this place is clean.
Because it's a Death God.
I
Everything
can-
out there is afraid of what's in here.
I can fix my bag if we spend a night, but it'll take me at least that long to fix it.
So we can worry about the gem later then.
Nod. Either
So-
way, it'll need to be cut unless you're gonna try to get someone else to carry it out.
Hey, I want to try something with you. Come here.
Oh boy.
Who was that for?
He'll follow, and as you convince him to tag along, Shoko and Varkon start approaching from the hallway at the top of the room.
Don't know if either of them know Dwarvish, but Yajier is still muttering grumpily.
That's an excellent question. Shoko, to nobody's surprise, immediately goes over to the assorted, unique things about the room and starts hovering and taking notes and like mumbling to herself in her native language.
Cole's gonna say, Varkon, and kind of wave him over to the chest.
Okay, he'll go over, but Nemo, Ron will follow you to wherever you were trying to beckon him, and we'll get that sorted first, because I know what Varkon's gonna get asked to do.
What?
I
I don't speak giant. I can't ask him anything, can I?
You can try.
You could
he
try.
just understands that he was called over. Yes.
Yeah,
No.
I mean,
I
So
got hand
sure,
gestures.
he knows Varkon's name.
oh
I
god.
got a big shade-eating grin on my face now.
Oh god, I don't remember if that's been mentioned whatsoever on
I
stream for chat.
referenced it
Yeah.
earlier.
Did you? Okay. All
Like
right.
last session?
But no, I referenced it this session, but we didn't talk about it.
He did
Oh,
not.
I absolutely did not catch your reference to this ongoing bit that
It was
Cole
pretty
doesn't
subtle.
actually know Ayejie's name,
Yeah.
and he just tries to avoid saying it in order to avoid having to prove he doesn't know it. But okay, yes, Nemo, what are you flagging Ron for?
Can I draw something on you?
What?
I want to see how special this powder is. Can I draw something on you?
With random powder you found on the floor?
No, the in the jar. It's in the jar. It wasn't on the floor. The red powder.
You give me 5 more gold and sure, have at it.
Ron is a brave man.
He is.
You can tell he's severely questioning whether or not he actually wants to agree to that, but 5 gold to the average layperson in Yvard is not a small sum.
No.
Get out of here.
You know what? You are without a drink for a very long time. Oh, yeah, 5 gold. Just for humoring me. Can I map? Yes, I can. Okay. I start checked it. 5 gold. So she's gonna take some of the red powder and draw a protection sigil on him. On wherever he's most comfortable with.
Okay. He'll roll up a sleeve over top of some of his bracers, and expose some skin.
I was getting Mulan vibes about the tattoo being a dragon of protection, then Ron getting punched right in the chest.
Varcon, come here for a second.
So yeah, she'll draw like the sigil on it with the powder and then put a hand over it, say like a little prayer. Yeah. Let's see if that works.
Okay.
If it starts itching or burning, call your doctor.
At least
Yeah,
at least the first couple minutes after, or the first few moments after you put it on, like nothing happens. He doesn't react. He's just, you good? That all?
And because I really want to make the Simba reference. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. She like puts her thumb in the powder again and just smeared across his forehead. Simba.
The fuck kind of.
I saw it in a play.
Okay, well, and he wipes it off his forehead. That's another.
Be alright.
That's another 5.
No, we didn't even agree.
Shit, you're right. Fine, that one's free. But you owe me a beer.
That's fair. Alright. I'm done with my bit.
So when Varcon gets over to the chest, Cole's gonna point down and kind of slap the big gemstone, kind of point to Varcon, kind of do a muscle pose, and then point to the table.
I'm not helping him. I think this is funny.
Varcon looks at the pantomiming and then looks at a Yejaye. You could not lift these.
She shakes her head. And then we'll mutter also, it broke my bag.
Oh. Oh, okay. And Cole, he does look back at you with, you're pretty sure it is a smile, with, given the damage on his face. It is hard to tell sometimes. But you're pretty sure it's like a fun, playful look, and he looks at you and then, as accented as you could imagine such a simple word in common, okay. And he just steps over the 3-foot wall of the chest and bends down and tries to lift this freaking thing.
Damn,
Entirely with his back.
Entirely with his back. Yeah, no, this, he knows how to lift a heavyweight properly. The form, pristine. Let me consult a thing real quick.
I don't like how much he's consulting the Oracle today.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So,
unsettling.
Normally they charge $5 a minute.
yeah, right? He, like, hooks this thing into the crooks of his elbows and, like, squeezes to sort of, like pinch it into the crooks of his arms, so it's not all the weight going to like just his hands or anything. And he tries to stand up out of that squat that he uses to get down and grab it. And he lifts it up. And he struggles before he's all the way up. and he drops it. He can lift it, but there's no way he by himself is getting it to that table, even with a 22. This thing is over 500 pounds. It would take an ungodly strong, even for a Goliath, to be able to do that. Like legendary hero, name preserved in sagas level of physical strength to do that one singular medium-sized humanoid. Oh, I do not like this one.
Yejie agrees.
What?
Yeah,
What?
Cole's just gonna
What
kind
is
of
this?
stare in disbelief, going, "Wow."
What is this?
Gemstone 3. 4? 4. Team 0. And Nemo says that out loud.
Yejie will ask Cole and Nemo before responding. So, what is that?
The what?
The stone. She can only assume Nemo knows because Nemo knows expensive things.
Yeah, Cole's gonna shrug. Looks like a gemstone.
All this trouble for a thing that might have value.
Yeah.
We're curious.
I know
little
that they grind it
creatures.
down to this powder over here, and I put some on Ron.
Yejie will translate this to Giant. To Varcon.
He just kind of nods, listening, taking it in. He has no suspicions or thoughts about it.
Cole's gonna kind of cock his head at Nemo. You placed it on Ron. Did you analyze it at all?
Hey,
I figured it was in a place of like a sacred spot. It was kept from weathering.
hey, Nemo.
Yes.
Shit's starting to itch a bit.
Oh.
Turns out Ron is allergic to rock.
Look at it. Yeah, she can go over that light. Oh jeez, oh jeez. And then she like pulls her bag out and started like digging for like salves that she may have.
Okay.
Ron, you might want to wash it off in the puddle.
Puddle.
Let me see what happened first.
Okay. You can make a medicine check.
Took me a while to find it. Oh.
Roll me
Yeah,
a
it's
d4.
E4 for seriousness.
Nemo, right about the time you get over to Ron to start looking, you realize you're also feeling some itchiness on your thumb that you used to smear this stuff on his skin. And you look at it and it's starting to look fairly red and inflamed, like maybe a rash is forming, which on Ron looks kind of weird. The fact that he has like almost kind of looking like raw metal veins in gray stone, like in his skin. A rash starting to form looks kind of funky, but also kind of fits in a weird way. Unless it gets to the point where it really starts getting to be a really bad rash, in which case you'll notice.
Okay. She's just gonna pull out her water skin and start like dumping it on her hand and then his forearm.
Cole is gonna sigh, walk over, and start pumping at the sink faucet.
Yeah, Ron will immediately come wash every part of him that's been exposed to this. And as soon as he does, he washes the part of his arm and he winces a little, but just like a because it looks like he's got a rash forming fairly quickly. no big surprise there that it hurts. But when he starts trying to wash his forehead and some of the water gets in his eyes,
Oh no.
he just drops. Well, I guess he didn't have anything in his hands anyway, but like he steps back and just starts going, "Fuck! Fuck! Oh, that ain't just water! Fuck, that hurts!"
And that's why I went for my water skin.
Cole's gonna look at a Yevardsaga.
What do you want me to do about it?
I thought that came from the puddle.
Yeshier looks. Does it come from the puddle?
Yes, the piping comes from the puddle, but the piping also goes through an enclosed little reservoir that has a cap on it underneath the sink basin.
Oh no!
It was unclear whether it was set up for water going up or water going down. It's a fairly reasonable suspicion now that it's for the water going up.
You've blinded Ron. Are you happy now?
No!
Look up!
I thought I was
She's trying to
helping.
pour all her water skin in his eyes.
Oh, he'll drop down on a knee and let you drench his eyes like an OSHA compliant chemical shower. Yeah, absolutely. I know that's not the term for it. Possum, I apologize. I know you know what I mean though.
Yes, I do. You could call it a safety shower or a deluge.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
As
that-
Nemo deluges Ron's pained eyes away. Sorry, Ayeji, were you interacting or doing anything with this?
I'm gonna see how this plays out for a minute. Then I'll decide.
Is the water in her water skin enough?
No.
Cole, give me yours.
Cole's gonna bend down, and grab a handful of the puddle and just take a swig to see if it is in fact water.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Oh.
He'll spit it back out if it's
Can
not.
can I like Dex save react to this to slap his hand away from his mouth?
Make a dex save.
I don't know if that would be Dex, but like
That's
I wanna
what I would
slap
say.
his hand.
That's what I would say is make a dex save, because you're trying to react. Oh shit, Sherry, you mean water in a cigarette? No, Bogue.
I don't know what I'd be fighting against for this, but
My AC, maybe?
Cole, does that equal or beat your dexterity stat? Not your modifier, just your base dexterity score.
My base dexterity stat, that does
Er-
not meet it.
Okay.
He was too fast.
you were really wanting to chug that water. I mean, I did have to slap 10 feet away, so
Like I say, I take like a sip ready to spit it out if it tastes weird. So like we got one person injured, like what if we had two?
It tastes different. It doesn't necessarily taste bad. It has a flavor to it, but you can see roots, a carved stone, and a raw stone covered in algae. But like, given all that, it tastes pretty clean. It just has a tint that doesn't taste like it's tainted, but like, yeah, it just has a little bit of something in it.
a very weak saffron raw.
Make a con save.
Oh, for love of Pete and whoever else you want.
Oh, I was gonna go with Spagnum, since we're talking about moss.
Stupid.
Thank you,
Oh.
thank you. I'll be
That is
here all night.
Beautiful.
Can I give inspiration to the DM?
Right?
You don't want to do that.
Oh no.
If you're poisoned, I'm not helping you. It's my final decision.
Cole,
Oh, boy.
after it sits for about half a minute, your gut just like cramps. And it passes quickly, but you get one really sharp, bad pang in your gut. Like, the the water itself is probably fine, but whatever flavor you could taste is probably indicative of something that is bad in there.
Yeah, that probably, we probably don't want to douse his eye in that.
You do
So-
take 1 point of poison damage.
I'll survive.
Nemo, do you both need more water? I'm going to
Ye-
clarify before I waste some magic on this.
The answer is yes.
Can I presto Ron's eyes? Would that help?
No, hold on, let her cook.
Because it cleans things.
Let me check the text of that cantrip. Because, like, I have a pretty decent sense of what it can do, but every now and then you get something like this where it's like, no, what does it say exactly?
You instantaneously clean or soil an object no larger than a cubic foot. So,
Huh. Yeah. You can presto to clean and remove any of that powder that is still residually there.
yeah.
I'm not sure that'll help the whole you poured acid into his eyes thing, though. Cold.
Acid, embalming fluid, it's hard to say.
God. She's just like snapping over her face. Like how you look at it, snapping over her face. Pajarito. Which is something like we Mexicans do when somebody's choking. They like snap above their head and say pajarito.
Huh.
It means like
Like-
little bird is supposed to like distract you.
Okay.
Ron
That's
suddenly feeling better because he is distracted from his blindness.
by a little bird.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
But yeah, does it seem like water is still needed?
Yes. Yes.
If nothing else, the the sensation of water, especially it's probably at least somewhat cool, seems to be relieving. Whether or not it's actually helping anything, we don't know. But Ron is still very, very fervently attempting, but not doing a fully effective job of not just shouting and screaming in pain. But he is cussing a
Okay.
lot. A lot of it is in Terran.
But yeah, she is gonna nudge / shove Cole out of the way so that she can stand where he is.
Which direction are you shoving?
I don't
Away from
care,
the
whichever
water.
way you move. Probably away from the water because she does specifically want to be like almost
Helping.
on the line between the
Okay.
waters. And she'll crack an egg. She's still muttering in Dwarven right now. She's like, these dumb.
Has it been a full hour since they came into the temple? Is there a comprehend language still going?
Yes, you still have comprehend languages. You guys have
Yeah,
been
I
in here
just-
for less than an hour, so you understand the things he's saying, and they are.
And probably understand the things I'm saying too.
Yes.
Yeah.
The things Ron is saying, you've heard him mention a few times, or at least like allude to it, but he's never outright stated it. That he was probably some amount of a sailor at one point in his life, and oh boy, is he letting the colorful language show it now.
He's like, I should have stayed on the boat.
That's not quite what I want.
So
It's a little bigger than it should be.
So I'm clearly not needed at this point. So Cole is gonna grab the gloves, the spectacles, and the metal sphere and just kind of put them in his
There we
bag
go.
for later.
I want Iegia to essentially stand between these two squares,
Okay.
and she's cracking an egg, and Ron, Nemo, and Cole would find this to be a familiar ritual she is doing, because she has a lovely sort of yellow-dyed egg with some simple patterns on it, and she's going to purify food and water for a 5-foot radius.
Okay.
And that removes poison and disease. I don't know if it'll render whatever's in the sink, like, moot, whatever word I'm looking for. I almost said newt. Turns it into salamanders.
Yes.
But at very
Bitchin'.
least, she's confident it will make the water that she's standing next to in the thing safe to handle.
Okay. All right. You purify the water. While you're prepping your egg and performing that, Cole, as you go to grab things and put them away, Shoko, who is fluttering over the table looking at this red powder, puts a hand out in front of you as you grab the sphere, and she goes, "Wait, have you touched this?"
Yes. Yes. When this, and he's gonna press the button to transform it for Shoko.
7 days.
She she chitters in excitement when the globe converts to its glass marble form and starts levitating a bit. Do you know what this is?
No, I don't. I got the sensation that it requires attuning. So it has some kind of magical force, but past that I don't have any idea.
This is a drift globe. It will follow you, levitating, and it will produce light. At your command.
Oh.
I did not know they had these so long ago. I thought they were a more recent technology. Fascinating. Oh, also,
Shoko's so cute.
I do not think we should touch the red powder. It's I believe this is used to preserve bodies for a very long time. Unless I am mistaken, I believe it's called cinnabar.
Oops.
Ooh.
You're okay, Ron. You're okay.
Ron is upset.
I'm so
I mean-
sorry.
Well, it
You got-
comes dunk your head in a pond.
Do you
It
say
is an
that to him?
instantaneous spell. As soon as it's purified, she's just gonna be like, "Get over here, you two."
Oh, lead me.
And Nemo will help him to the water. I'm so sorry.
Okay, and are you trying to get him to dunk his head in the pool or be under the spigot?
I don't know. I would not press the spigot still.
Okay, so
Uh,
just Ron, lean forward. He'll just splash him in the face.
Let's just dunk his head in the dunk his head. Dunk your head in the water and open your eyes.
Oh,
let's
shit,
splash it on his
shit,
face. I don't
shit.
care.
Just don't fall in.
Okay, he slowly works his way down to a knee and shoves his head in the water and
Till the bubbles stop.
till the oh god, maybe um and he shakes his head around under the water and he comes back out and he's rubbing his eyes and he goes, "Oh, I do not think all of that water is safe. I'm fine. It didn't make anything worse, but I think it was just barely so."
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it'd purify the whole pond or just the part I touched. I'm not gonna lie.
Typically, I as a DM don't actually know what the specifics of that would be, but I usually assume if it's a smaller contained space like that, not like a river, it would probably just do the whole thing. I don't
That was
actually
kind of
know.
my assumption, but I didn't actually have a strong thought on it. I was like, this will be better than nothing. Man, I got a ritual cast that. You guys made me waste a spell.
Well, it didn't hurt him.
I don't know, but just in general, I'm
Oh,
complaining.
okay, fair enough. By all means, carry on.
Like, come on.
By all means, proceed with thine complaints.
I will, thanks.
Uh, Possum, when you find out what that stuff is IRL as a player, you're probably going to find that I did a very bad job actually portraying what would happen. I admit my research on it was hasty and like 4 days ago. So cut me some slack because you will know better probably. Um, but yeah, so that's all played out, and Ron is still uh, not feeling great, but he's rubbing his eyes and blinking a lot. You can see exactly where the powder was smeared on him because it's still very red and a rash already after a couple minutes, including the symbol line across his forehead. Nemo, your thumb is doing all of these things too. Your thumb is super irritated, super itchy, like to the point of pins and needles and almost feeling like a burn.
Yeah, I'm gonna wash my hand in there.
Okay.
So we learned a couple of things today.
You did.
Against our will.
And meanwhile, Shoko really doesn't seem to give a shit about whatever y'all are doing. Like,
That's fair.
her
She's generous.
contribution was naming what she suspects the red powder to be, and that's about as much attention as she's paid. Like, there's no way she's unaware. She just,
Yeah,
she's in her own place.
that was a gentle, like, you guys are idiots.
Var-
It's a really nice pigment, though, so I'm gonna probably touch it more.
For what it's worth, Varkon is laughing the whole time.
Asia just looks tired.
I agreed. I didn't expect that, but I knew there was a risk involved.
I thought it was some just pigment they used to adorn people with.
Oh, it might have been, but if it is, I think there's a reason they didn't use it for nothing else.
Except for on the already dead.
Sorry.
Despite the warnings, there's still powder on the table.
Yes.
I'm gonna get a jar of it. Not touching it, just scooping it into the jar. Maybe using a piece of the broken pottery to, like, dust pan it in.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
Yay! I've got a jar of cinnabar.
And, real quick, because I've been really curious. Can Nemo check out the jars over here?
The ones under the shelves?
Yes.
Yeah, the big ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure thing. You open up jar number 1, and it's filled almost to the brim. Like that was the last thing that happened before this place was just abandoned. Was somebody's chore was to fill this jar up with honey.
Oh.
It is a 4-foot tall ceramic bulk storage of honey.
Well, shit. That's a lot of honey. And then she opens the next one.
It's more honey, but slightly lower down. Some of it has apparently been used.
Oh. And then she's gonna keep going down.
Jar number 3 is about half full
Is
of
there-
honey.
I'm waiting for one of these to have a body.
To be fair, the lid would be kind of hard to get a body into. Not
Oh.
impossible. It is wide enough, but it would be awkward.
Only if you want it in one piece.
True.
Yep.
Hmm.
That's what hatchets are for.
Oh.
And then jar number 4 is filled up with honey, but it looks like a different. It's not the same color as the others. It's darker.
Oh.
Like,
Does
like,
I was like, does it
like
have a red tinge to
it.
it?
It kind of a brown, maybe red tint to it.
We're not gonna touch that one.
Having Shoko refer to the powder as cinnabar, you remember reading in the book you picked up here that one suggested form of mellification was to submerge a body in honey mixed with cinnabar as a particularly effective, long-lasting, and antiseptic cadaver preservation method.
Fun.
Hi,
and
Tree! Thanks for saying hi. Sorry, we haven't seen Tree in chat for a long time.
Tree!
Hi, friend! But yes,
Everyone
that's
needs
what you
to
find.
talk so that Tree can see our cool avatars.
Yeah! Tree, we got custom art. Rad, right here next to me on the screen. Rad drew these things.
Yeah.
Rad made these. I'm so glad you're here to listen, my friend. I hope you've been doing well.
We'll stop harassing you now.
Yes.
I'm talking now so you can see mine as well.
Awesome. But yes, sorry, Nemo.
You said there were 5?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, 5 4-foot jars. My brain got it backwards in my head, even though I made this list. The last one is empty.
Oh.
It's still, like, very big, very heavy. The ceramic container on its own is considerable.
She will, I guess, report what she finds over here. Ron, do you want to sell for the burns?
Yeah, I'd take just about anything.
Give them cinnabar honey.
No! I read in the book that it's antiseptic. No, she has an artist. I feel like she would have some, like...
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some equivalent to, like, a Neospore.
Yeah, some sort of just, like, general anti-inflammatory poultice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should just put that on his arm and forehead. Just like, again, I'm so sorry I didn't know. But hey, at least you got 5 gold out of it.
Yeah, I should ask for 10. But, oh well.
That's a negotiation for the next time, if there is one.
Yeah, I might stay away from mysterious powders despite adventures in my youth. And today, the signs seem to say it's just a bad idea in general. And all of this he says while, like, still crying. His sinuses have been draining out his nose. Like, if you ever IRL have seen what it looks like when somebody gets maced, it's
yeah.
like
It's not pretty.
It's like 30% of that. Like 30% of the intensity, but all of the same things you see. But yeah, and applying some of that stuff to your thumb too, Rad, will help it cool off and smooth over within a couple minutes. So
Yeah.
Ron gets his vision back eventually. And he's like, honestly, the worst thing was that water. It stung. I was not expecting water that stings on my eyes. and I'm used to salt water.
Can you like sniff the like the I guess like if there's anything left on the sink, but like
Yeah.
is that embalming fluid? if there is such a thing.
Yeah, you would have to make a check for that. I would argue perception, since you're trying to use your sense of smell.
Okay. Hey.
So, given your profession, this isn't exactly the same smell, but it reminds you very much of some things that you've interacted with that have been recently like refurbished or redone and have been like expertly cleaned, whether that's via arcane or non-arcane methods. And this smells like something that's been cleaned by some of the people you know who restore like antique or bizarre exotic goods. It smells clean.
It's ammonia.
There's some amount of antiseptic quality to the content of this water.
Is that ammonia? But yeah, that doesn't smell like water. But I'm glad you got your vision back. Yay.
Yeah, thanks. Me too. Just I'm gonna go out on a limb and say am no longer required to perform any tests that involve life, limb, or eyesight. Well, okay, limb or eyesight that isn't in a immediately life-threatening scenario. That I'm cutting that out of the contract.
You didn't even have to do this one.
Yes, I know, and I learned my lesson. Thank you.
He learned his lesson to stay on the contract.
Last time I went off contract, I fell through a canyon and into a river and almost died. And then today, I don't even know all of that went down. It was too hard to focus. But it's done. I'll live, probably. If I don't, I don't know, at least take my money and get drunk.
And your crossbow. You said to take your crossbow.
Yeah, you have to take that back up to the bar.
Okay.
And you tell that barkeep, I don't care how big a stool he's got to get, he got to hang this thing above the bar.
You got it.
Okay, consider that my last will and testament then.
Cool. You want to get that down in writing inside it?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to read the fine print, so. Ugh.
You know, that's only assuming you die. You could live.
Yeah. Oh, that's an idea.
Cole, are you being an optimist?
Well, there are the two options, I suppose. He's gonna chuckle to himself.
There are many other options, Shoko says. There are multiple forms of in-between states between life and death.
Oh, that's ominous.
Have you found anywhere else to go?
Well, you came from that way.
There is a pit in the other room. We don't see a way down other than going down it, but it is a long drop.
I will be right back.
There was also traps.
I will be back with.
She's
What's his face?
she's turning to leave the room and fly out, but when Ayejier calls about the trap, she stops, and her head does the owl turn.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like that.
Thank you for that advice. I will keep my eyes extra open. Turns around and leaves.
I'm fine
Uh,
with her going.
And I guess none of you have like a direct line of sight through the archway into the room where you can see the pit from in here.
She's gonna swoop.
But you can. She just flies over it and lets her wings go slack, and she just goes whoop
Meow.
without a single sound, because owlins don't make sounds when they fly, unless they want to. Varkon just looks and watches her do that and sighs in a very like defeated way. And he just starts mumbling to himself as he walks out of the room after her that Ayejier and Nemo, you both hear him just grumbling. I've told her not to do this. She knows better than to go without me. And he just goes and stands over the pit.
Did one of y'all ask if they encountered any other doors or things on their path?
No,
No.
you can talk.
I could have sworn while we were in some other room, I thought I saw out the window there were other walls.
Varkon and I don't exactly speak the same language.
Yeah, but Shoko does.
I don't know. I saw you dancing around. You seem to get the gist just fine.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ron. I'm flattered.
Yeah, Ron says and just leaves. Walks back up the hallway to what's at the end of that hallway? That little reading nook, I think. Yeah, the reading nook.
Oh, that does connect to where we were. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a window.
Nope, that's an archway.
Okay. I peeked through it earlier, but
Yeah, no, you can see the reading nook from the room. So if you go back up this way, you're just back at that same sort of intersection you were at before when you exited the embalming studio. But originally, y'all went. I can do this maybe. Originally, y'all went through here, and that was the room with the bed.
yeah. Real quick,
Uh huh.
when I was in this room, peering through this hole. Sorry, I'm up in the like.
The embalming studio.
Yeah. Peering through this window.
Mm-hmm.
Is this actually a wall, or is that
Yeah.
behind rock and I can't see it?
Is can you point with your arrow at
Ping.
is the what a wall?
It was pinging.
That
Yeah,
Or is it behind that rock?
that is behind that rock. However,
Okay,
that
so I
you
see
can
nothing.
see.
Here.
That you can see from right there.
Yeah.
That
this
is a
what
wall.
Nemo was
Okay.
talking about.
Yeah, so we know that there's stuff. We just don't necessarily know how to get to it from here. Because definitely we don't know that exists.
Yeah.
No one pay attention to what I said.
But Nemo was talking about this wall that she said that she saw.
Yeah.
Can you fit through the window?
I can see everything. No, I can't. I'm good.
I was gonna say you
I don't know
shouldn't.
why that happens to me. It's just occasionally I get grayscale view of literally everything. It happened last session too, just for like a split couple seconds. I don't look though.
Sure.
She politely averts her eyes.
Out of a sense
Sometimes
of
I
dignity.
zoom in and panic.
Nice. Can
So
Nemo fit her head through the window?
Yeah, you can fit your head through the window. There's not necessarily a ton of room to wiggle around, but like you can see that there is the corner of a wall. You can't really make out much about the walls on either side, but it's like definitively a corner in the same style as the rest of this place is. But like going out, if you were to try and take a hard up or a hard down walking out of there, you'd just be met with stone, like stone walls, like naturally occurring stone and dirt barrier.
Alright, so we're missing like a secret door somewhere.
Secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel.
Yep, my brain went there too.
I'll have you all know that I had a group of cops singing that song with me.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, Yegie, if it is said aloud that maybe we're missing a hidden door, Yegie will admit she has no expertise in that. She can find a badger hole from like 100 meters away, but she's never had to look for hidden compartments or anything. That sounds like stuff out of stories.
Not necessarily, you're a sneaky bitch. We just gotta find out if we are also as smart as the sneaky bitch.
So she'll hang out with Ron. If I sit in this chair, does it like crumble under me?
No, it's just a hard, borderline uncomfortable chair. Like, there's a
Excellent.
cushion on it, but that cushion has aged
I'm fine
mostly
with that.
normally.
Ayashi, can you start grabbing books from that shelf and see if, like... I don't know.
Hey, Ulf, how
Huh?
thick are these walls?
Stand by. Let me get you on the screen and see where you are.
I'm back up in the embalming studio. I was down when you guys were up here talking, so I came up here to look.
Like they're... God, I'm bad at linear distance. They're stone masonry kind of, not like brick, but cut slightly bigger than the average construction brick. And the way they're arranged would make it 10 inches thick.
Okay.
Had to
it's
get
not
there.
as easy as like cutting through drywall with my knife.
Well, I mean,
It's
with the knife you have, it might be.
Because what Cole's thinking is, as the conversation's going, is we can see a wall right here, and he can cut through those walls. We could just put a hole here, put a hole here, and we have our back entrance.
You could certainly try if you want. It'll take a minute, though.
Well, we're not sure when Shoko's gonna get back.
You think we should hide the hole? Leave them behind?
What?
Huh?
Well, question: Did we establish that we can see this, or
You cannot.
No.
No.
Okay.
Cannot.
Okay, but
That was me failing on the lighting restrictions of
Yep.
the map.
but we can see this.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, we haven't found any other doors. So yeah, Cole's gonna take out his knife and put a hole in the wall and see if we can go and put a hole in the one right there and
Okay.
cut a path open.
All right. While you're working on that, Ayegie,
Did Yegie get told to pull books on a shelf? Because she'll do it while sitting down.
Yeah.
She's just hanging out here, so she'll hang out here and just start lightly taking all the books off the shelf. and putting them in neat piles.
Okay. Um, there are a lot of these books aren't in great shape. Um, but you find a couple titles that might jump out at you, particularly
read 'em?
as you're pulling through. I suppose, no, you can't. That's a good point. Thank you. You absolutely cannot. But I do
Well then.
have the four most noteworthy books that you would find, in case anybody comes to look.
I mean, Ron's hanging out with me.
Oh
so.
shit, you're right. Yeah, Ron can read them to you. If nothing else, he'll ask. "And What's okay? Yeah, I'll read it. Okay, what's that? Uh, a guide to useless glyphs. He starts flipping through it and just, it's really bad humor. It's it's jokes that are really bad that are all about magic. I don't get most of them, but I'm not a mage. That one is. This one's the whole Hollow World Atlas. What? It flips through.
That
Knew it.
sounds fun.
Evard is hollow. I knew it.
Oh, somebody was trying to explore down here and make a book out of it. They didn't get very far. They only got like 4 pages, but they were gonna try.
Might be worth reading through that one.
Yeah,
Or giving it to Shoko. I'm sure she'd be excited.
it looks like they didn't get past the Crystal Lake.
Shrug.
Well, sure.
Anything about mushrooms?
We got the theorized machinations behind interdimensional portals, bags, and holes. Don't know about mushrooms. That does sound pertinent. River navigation through magical forests. Now there you might find something. But
Why do you do this to me?
Wait, can Nemo hear him from this distance?
probably he's not being quiet. His voice carries decently well. The walls
Well,
are
I'll
made
get
of
those two
stone.
books. Nemo comes flying through, smashes into the doorway.
Yejiye, make an investigation check with advantage, please.
Can probably do. Investigation?
Yes.
With advantage. Boop. Oh, the advantage didn't really help.
I only see one number.
I don't know why. I rolled 2. I gave you the higher one. Wait, did it? Yeah, I gave you the higher one.
Okay. Bum, 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 bum.
Why is yours so funny? It's 2d20kh.
Yeah, that's because it was the advanced roll.
Oh, okay.
Higher, probably, KH.
Oh, yeah, probably. As you're pulling out some of these books, most of which are just like rotten and kind of useless,
Still piling them in random orders. No method to the madness, but if someone walked upon this and saw it, they would think there's method here.
As you're going through this, you notice there's something kind of weird on the underside of one of the shelves. And it doesn't really look like a button, it doesn't look like a switch, but it looks like something sticking out. And when you go to like poke at it, as I'm sure any reasonable D&D player would, it does seem like it moves, and it's some sort of like toggles between a switch and a button. And when you hit it, it moves up and goes flat with the bottom of the shelf. And the shelf just slides to the side and opens up completely.
Oh. I'm assuming Nemo's actually standing where Nemo is on the map.
Yeah.
Yejia just kind of goes, oh, and looks at her. Like, no other words, just a blink, blink.
You did it! Good job. No, those 2 books.
While y'all are doing that, Cole.
Yeah.
Just left him in
I
there
was gonna
cutting
say,
through a wall.
Nemo pokes her head back in. Hey Cole, how far are you without that hole there?
You'd be able to get You could probably climb through the hole you've made here in this time. Like you can step through it.
Yeah, I've broken through this wall, haven't started the next.
We found the door.
Ah. Well,
It was a great idea, though.
that works.
Puts knife away, sighs.
Well,
Just imagine.
I
It's a
imagine
great
what-
idea, though, Pat.
And I feel like, you know that one meme with the weird looking, I don't know if it's a hippopotamus, a guinea pig, what have you, but it's something with a switchblade.
is this door locked?
It is. In particular, that is a door that would probably make you pause when you first see it. Because, hold on, let me find my description here. Okay, so this is another heavy, heavy metal door. But this isn't quite like the last ones. Because this one, in the middle of it, is a huge cast likeness of a cherubic face with an expressionless stare. Just staring down the hallway at you.
No thanks.
So think like Baby Cupid, if in like pure emotional shock, dissociating, staring blankly into the distance, 1,000-yard stare. That's the face you're looking at cast into the same metal as the door, but it's a protrusion out of the door. Beneath that face, there's a metal, like, arm? Not necessarily, like, cast in the shape of an anatomical arm, but, like, a protrusion of something that I suppose, I just call it an arm, that sticks out, like, in front of, but still below the face, with a bowl on top of the end. And in the center of a bowl is a 12-inch metal spike made out of the same metal as the door. And then next to the door is a pedestal that has it's just mounted to the wall to hold an open book. And what's on there isn't a book, it's a scroll, but it's made of unaged vellum that has text that, Cole, even you can read, even though you can tell it's magic that lets you read it. And the scroll only has 3 words on it.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "Give of yourself." And that's where we'll stop for tonight.
Fantastic.
Real quick before I forget,
Uh-huh.
I'd like to shove something. Okay, a couple things. Sorry, I need to use my brain.
Unfortunate.
Put something in door jam. Keep door from closing all the way.
Okay.
Close door as far as it goes. See if there's a way to open door from this side.
There is a much more obvious mechanism back here that is still more of a pressure plate, but sideways on the back of the shelf, that when you press it, the door will disengage and be able to slide.
Okay.
But you do have to manually slide it coming out. Going in, you didn't have to.
That's fine, I think. Ayeshiei will ask if we want the door closed.
We can leave it open.
Okay. So in that case, she will wedge something to keep it from closing all the way.
I thought we didn't want competition.
Sorry, I just heard Homan give the biggest yell.
I was wondering if that was ours or not. I don't know who
It
else's it
was.
would have been, but yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I just wanted to, before we left, I want to make sure that we either knew we could get out of this little hallway or prevent the hallway from locking us in.
I appreciate it. Those are good thoughts.
I have those sometimes.
Yeah. So I guess for our parting thoughts and recap for tonight, Don't rub mysterious red powders on your friends or your hired help.
Oh.
Be careful what water you shove your face into in a medical emergency. A bag of holding can only hold 500 pounds maximum. And it's possible to lift something with two people that is over 500 pounds. And give of yourself.
Give of yourself.
I think that summarizes all the high points of tonight. So, as far as I know, we'll see you guys again next week. Thanks for playing, everybody.
Thanks, Ulf.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you. It was fun.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And just like that, our avatars disappear because they're dependent on whether or not people are in the Discord call. Yeah, so that's our session for tonight. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Thanks for seeing the new setup. The cat knocked my camera, so I'm a little askew. Yeah, Tree, it's good to see you. Sorry that with the game format going on, in order to be able to tell the best story and keep focused on stuff, I don't really get a ton of opportunities to engage with chat in the natural flow of the game. But I'm very happy you stopped in. I'm so grateful. Thank you for lurking, and I have been thinking about you and hoping that you've been doing well because we haven't gotten to hang out for a while. But yeah, it's good to hear from you. And let's see. I don't think I have any other announcements or anything other than keep an eye on Discord if you want to see. So glad to see you again, man. Thank you. Oh, we got something special. We got cat cam, involuntary cat cam. Thank you.
It doesn't want to be here.
He does not want to be here at all, does he? Hi, buddy boy. We got Cat. Hi, Gremlin. This is Hoban, if you guys haven't met him. He's a gremlin. I knew I came back to check for a reason. It's the cat. Everybody's here for the cat. We all know it. We actually adopted 2 more cats. Tree, I'm not sure if you had heard or seen that in the Discord. I don't think we've mentioned it in a while. But yeah, we adopted 2 more. They were feral cats living on and around our property. It was a mama and her kitten. So we adopted them last year. I'll try and get them on camera sometime, but they're still getting used to being handled at all. I've been trapped on a deserted island for a while. That's Well, I hope you at least had a book. I'm glad you're able to send a message bottle our way. That's where I've been. That's fair. That's fair. It is good to see you when we can get you. So, yeah, but you have a good night, my friend, and all other friends, all other lurkers. Y'all are the best. I love you guys. I'm excited to keep telling this story. And if you missed anything or you want to revisit some of your favorite moments, this will be uploaded on YouTube later tonight. And yeah, have a great one. You too, Tree. Y'all take care and stay tuned. There'll be more to follow next week.